No,
Oh, hi.
this. Okay. All right. Sorry, I asked before.
What?
How's everyone doing on Zoom? How much longer do we need? We'll just do 2 more minutes, all right, guys? All right, so we're gonna move on. Now, I'm still gonna take my big brush. Again, I'm gonna make sure it's really clean with my water. Gonna get all that excess water off. And make sure it's really clean with my paper towel. Especially this time because we're gonna grab white this time and start making our clouds in our sky. So we really wanna make sure this paintbrush doesn't have any extra colors on it. I'll give everyone a few seconds to get caught up. All right, so now that our big paintbrush is really clean, we're gonna grab a tiny bit of our white. I'm using my larger brush. And I'm gonna put it on my tin foil and I'm gonna wet my paintbrush a tiny bit. And I'm gonna mix my wet paintbrush into that little bit of white. So it's a bit thinner, the paint. And I'm gonna take my larger paintbrush and I'm gonna start doing swirling motions and circular half motions and just try and make a cloud shape right in this right hand corner. You guys can put the clouds wherever you'd like, but definitely want a bigger one on this side because we're gonna have our barn over here on the left. So definitely want a larger cloud on our right side. I think I'm gonna put a few more up here. Again, I'm just doing those swirling circular motions.
All right, baby? It's okay. Okay. All right.
A few moving up from the top. Maybe one coming off from the side. All right, is everyone caught up with their clouds? On Zoom, is everyone caught up? Yeah? Owen's good. Caitlin, are you good? Almost?
Almost.
Almost, okay. Lucy, how about you?
I'm good.
Oh, you're done with the clouds?
Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna wait a few more minutes for everyone else here at the studio to catch up, okay? Why don't you have a hole? Our barn's gonna be right here. Don't worry about it. Our barn's gonna cover all that up. Don't worry too much about it. Maybe put another one over here. Don't worry about that. Sometimes you take your finger. It's just because next time you dip your paintbrush in the water, make sure you get all that extra water off. Don't worry about it. All right. And in the meantime, for you guys on Zoom that are waiting for the next step, we can mix a little bit more of that green and do a second coat on our grass, okay? So that green was just the regular green with some yellow and a tiny bit of white. All you guys do at the studio, I don't think any of you guys need a second coat of that green. I think I do, but all of you guys look like you guys are fine.
Is this good?
Yeah. You need a break? How's everyone on Zoom? Are you guys caught up? Yep. All right. And everyone here, are we almost done with the clouds? Almost. Okay. So we're gonna wait 2 more minutes.
Want some more, honey?
You guys ready? Okay. So this time, we're gonna brush. Actually, forget that. We're gonna take our small stubby paintbrush. All right. We're gonna take our tinfoil and we're gonna take a little bit of red and a little bit of white. Mix that together. And we're gonna start with our barn. So, do you want to stand up for just while I do so you can watch? Just for this one part.
Do we mix it?
Yes, you're gonna mix the red and the white together just to make a tiny bit of a lighter red. The white just goes in there just so it's not see-through or translucent. The white helps with that.
Okay.
So I got my red, and I'm gonna start off by doing one straight line down, a little bit under the grass. I think I'm actually gonna move my line a little bit over to the right, a tiny bit more. We want it a little bit more to the right side. We want more room for our barn to the left. We're gonna do a second line right here.
No water.
Once I have my two lines, this one and this one, forget about this one in the middle, I'm going to connect them right across. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Start making the front of our barn. Looks good. Yeah. No, it's okay. It's good. That's good. And how are we doing on Zoom at home? All right, good? All right. Okay, good. Everyone's good. All right. I'm going to give everyone about another minute or so, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so our next step is going to be to make a line from this point of our barn. We're going to make our roof. Don't worry about that. Let it dry and then we'll go over it with glue. It'll be covered up. All right, and once everyone's caught up with our roof, we're gonna take the point of our roof and we're gonna kind of downward slant it a tiny bit. We're gonna go out this way, but not straight across. We're gonna go down a little bit. So it's not a perfect straight line. Just slant it the tiniest bit down. And we're gonna do the same thing right here, following the line we just made. Does that one go down too? Both of these lines are parallel to each other. I'll make it a little bit. Looks nice.
Do you want to put your name on that?
Looks good. Don't worry. And how's everyone at home? You guys good? Yeah? All right. Okay. So we're now going to do a line at the bottom of our barn. Again, going out off the canvas. This one can be straight. Then we're going to start a little bit under, like right here. We're going to do a slant word out about halfway. And then we're going to stop right there and do a straight line downwards. And right where we started that point that went downwards, we're going to bring it in. Just like that. To almost make a triangle shape. Mm-hmm.
All right, and your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why didn't you wear your air conditioner?
All right, now we're going to put our stubby brush. Actually, we're going to continue. Hold on. Last thing we're going to do is the outline for our door. So we're going to do a line down. Don't get confused if anyone else has one of these extra lines like I do. Just forget it's there and put your line down for your door. And then we're going to top it off. All right. And then once our outline is done for our barn, you guys are finished, we're going to put our stubby brush back in our water.
Go this way.
Yeah, please do. All right, so once our outline is completely finished, we're gonna take our medium-sized brush and we're gonna take a little bit of green with some white. And we're gonna mix that together, just some green and white. But mine's turning out to be a little too light, so I'm gonna add more green. Of course you can. All right, and once you guys have the color green you like, I just took a good amount of green and a tiny bit of white. I'm gonna wait till everyone's caught up. And once you got that green mix, we are gonna add a little tree right here. I'm just doing circular motions and somewhat making a circular oval shape for the top of my tree with all the leaves. And I would do 2 coats for this because with 1 coat, my clouds are still showing behind my tree. So I'm gonna do 2 coats of this. And if you guys want a little dimension on your leaves for your tree, we can take a little bit of yellow, just straight yellow on my brush. And I'll just lightly pat that in there and swirl it in.
Try another sheet of tin foil, honey.
So I would do 2 coats on it. Once we have our tree, we're then going to take some of our brown, but make sure your paintbrush is thoroughly washed and dry. But once your paintbrush is clean and dry, you're going to dip into some brown, and we're just going to make the line and the base of our tree trunk. So I'm just going to start right here at the base of where my leaves were. And I'm just going to bring it down. Stop right about there. I'm going to clean my brush off again. And I think I'm going to dip back into my green. And I'm just going to go over a little bit over where I just started my tree branch. So it looks like the leaves are on top of our tree branch. You guys can add even a little bit of white in your tree if you want some highlights. Hi, how are you? Good, how are you? All right, so just keep blending. We got our white.
Good. How are you? I'm good. I'm good. You? I figured I'd be today's here for the party since I'm here the whole party. What? You want to? Yeah, why not? So, you know.
All right.
Okay, that's all right. If it's too much, I know. for that day. Correct, just so I know what time it's And that day, I guess, we decide what to do, like what to pick. Right. She's so excited. So, yeah. Perfect. 516.
Fresh water?
Oh, it's 2620. August 15th. So should I bring like paper plates and stuff like that? Okay.
Good.
I could bring like a few decorations.
How's everyone doing at home? Are we caught up? Good. Owen's good. Caitlin and Lucy, how you guys doing? You guys caught up? Gonna assume that's a yes. So,
My face doesn't recognize me.
whenever everyone's ready, we're gonna wait one more minute because we're doing some finishing touches, and then we're gonna move on to painting our barn.
And you painted yours. I love it. That's very Oh, this is for me to keep? No, it's not for me. I took a picture.
All right, so to get started for our colors on our barns, we're gonna take our medium-sized brush again. And we're gonna mix a good amount of red
Nothing's 100%.
because we want to mix enough of the red to fill up our whole
Like
barn.
medium-sized brush? It's a little small.
And I got a decent amount of red on my tin foil.
I'm all right.
I'm gonna take a tiny bit of brown and I'm gonna mix that in my red, okay?
On top of you.
I think that's
And I'm gonna take a little bit more brown and I'm gonna mix that in. You just gotta wait until she's done talking. So mine is kind of like a rust burgundy red now that I added some of that brown in there. It's not too dark. All right, but we want this paint. We want to mix a good amount to fill up our whole barn. All right.
Honestly, I think going forward, I think I'm always gonna continue wearing a mask.
And once we have this color mixed, and it's the color that you guys want for your barn, we're gonna start filling up our
You know.
picture. So I'm gonna start off with the side of my barn, and we're just gonna go up in slow brush strokes, going upwards.
Can I use some of those painted small things?
All right, and then we're gonna do the front.
So if you want to do something, we do have the camp from 9 to 12. I don't know if that's, we don't have, so I see I have these acrylic shields on the table. And everybody gets one of these. So everybody's is pretty much set. Of course, when you have a snack that you take care of. Yeah.
I like the tables. I like how you can walk around now.
Well, that's why I bought new tables before, right at the beginning of March.
There's so much more space now.
They were narrower, and I bought these 4 tables and went all the way to Connecticut to get them. And I was so much
And I'm gonna do 2 coats on my barn, okay?
So much space. So much space you can get
And I
around.
didn't need big enough crystals for what? To collect crap.
I don't want to be able to see any of that blue underneath, okay?
So just keep us aligned.
Can I please have more thing? Red?
Well, I know next week, my husband, see, the thing is that both of us working. So next week we'll have off, so I'll ask, so it's 9 to 5 every day? Or
9 to 3:30
Oh, 9 to-
every day. Wednesday, it's to 5:30. This is a workshop, 3:30, 5:30.
is it on the website?
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's it.
Cause then,
Well,
well,
you're gonna fill the whole barn up.
I think the last week of August, so if she wants to come,
Yeah, so what
I can bring her and drop her off.
I'm going to Florida.
Yeah, I know you were
I'm
saying.
gonna be away. If the girls are,
Yeah.
so we don't have to, summer shoes. It should be right in front of me, right? Not so long. But I only have half the sheet. It's not, this is just the hours.
Okay, just find out hours.
It's not like, no, it's just not. Give me 1 second. Yes. Oh, here's the right one. Yeah. Walk in August, but there's a good possibility we're gonna go to Milton.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Are we using
Okay,
our
Thank
We're using
you.
our medium-sized brush.
I mean, you know, the school doesn't.
And everyone at home on Zoom, are you guys caught up with the barn so far?
Yeah.
Owen, you're good? Yeah? All right.
I didn't realize I was on the camera, I'm sorry. I was like, where am I in that? I was like, let me get up. All right. thanks,
Okay,
Sarah.
and
All right,
now
we'll
that
see
we
you
got that all
soon.
covered,
Thank you so much.
we're gonna cover this top part, this triangle up here. We're gonna cover that all red. And we're probably gonna need to do 2 coats as well for this part, okay? I need to mix more red for mine, so I'm gonna mix some red with a tiny bit of brown again, all right? So I got my brown mixed in with my red. And again, I want this like rust or burgundy color. Now we're gonna fill up this top triangle up here for our barn. And I'm even going over for a 3rd time on the bottom half of my barn on certain spots because I can still see some blue from my background. So I'm just gonna try and cover that whenever I can. All right, but for you guys both, I just want you guys to pay attention. When I was doing mine, I did piece by piece. So I did 1 triangle and I stayed in the triangle. And then I did it here, like that, and I did that square. I wasn't going over the whole thing. I tried to stay shape by shape. It just makes it look much more uniform and much more like a house. Plus, it'll save extra work for you later when we're doing like outlines and stuff. Yeah, you can do that. And any guys at home, if you want to blow dry, so it's a quicker process to do a second or third coat, you can definitely grab a blow dryer, but you should be fine. I'm not using a blow dryer, so, but if you want to, you can. So while we're still doing our red and everyone's catching up, we're gonna fill in our next smaller section. We're gonna fill in this little mini triangle right here that's off the side of our barn. Once I fill that in, I'm again gonna do this line one more time, just to make it a tiny bit thicker and a little bit darker. Definitely do it more quick than these ones. And I would don't have enough more of that. And mix all that together. Save you dollar me a lot more things. Like a lot more. That's the only way to cover this up in movies. So see how much now you can really see that. It's almost gone. You gotta do that. Like that was a lot of things. Yeah, see now we can like now that almost looks exciting for the house, right? With those lines. For you guys at home, just make sure we do a second or third coat on our barn so it's a really rich red. Just so you guys can see. I can't really see through my red anymore, so I just want you guys to be able to do the same thing. We don't want to be able to see any blue or any clouds, okay?
What colors you need socks in?
I have them all.
What?
No, they don't have black at home, so I don't want to have everyone use it.
I have black.
You have black?
Yeah.
Owen, do you have black? Yeah, okay, then we're gonna use black. Okay, thank you guys. They do have black at home.
Okay. Sometimes it's too much paint, and so instead of it painting over, sometimes you have to just go up and then go back over it, right? You just see, it's a lot of paint. So, let's take the brush. Let's take off some. Okay. Great painting, but it's really like, you know, it's a lot of process.
Yeah. I think we're gonna wait another about 4 or 5 minutes until everyone's done, okay?
Let me see. I think it actually might be. Excuse me.
Yeah, of course you can. You don't have to ask. All right, everyone. I think we're almost ready. Now another minute or two, and then we're gonna go on to our next step. All right, so for our next step, I mix green with a tiny bit of white. And we're gonna use this green to fill in our roof over here. Let me move this over so you can see a little better. So I'm just gonna take this green and I'm gonna really slowly just start to do my roof. So I'm just gonna
Okay, I got that down.
going like off the canvas. Now, it's okay if your line this way right here isn't perfect because we're going to do all outlines over it, so don't worry about that yet.
Do you want these a little closer to you?
Hi, Lucy. Did we lose connection for a bit?
Yeah, I had to switch a different device.
Where is she at in the painting? I can help her catch up a bit.
She was just doing the roof.
All right, okay. All right, everyone. Once our roof is fully covered, we're gonna take our medium-sized brush again, and we're gonna wash it off really well. Make sure it's not too wet, so we're gonna clean it with our paper towel too. And then we're gonna dip in a tiny bit to our brown. I don't have too much on there. I don't have a big glob on there, I just have a little bit. And I'm gonna go and start to shade my roof a little bit while the green paint is still wet. So I'm gonna lightly start putting little lines of brown on my roof. Just so you guys can see a little bit closer, who's at home. Just light strokes of brown over that green for the roof. I also forgot a step. So we're gonna clean our brush off once you finished blending that brown onto the green. You're gonna dip back into your green and then just do one line going down this side of the roof on the right side. I'll go down this side too on the left as well, why not? Owen, you got that green line on the other side? Okay, good. All right, so just do a layer here, a line here, and then we're gonna blend a little on top of that. Let's do that. Just really gently. Or you know, and then a little bit more. It's just a little bit. And then in, sharper. If you want to give it a good try, just because the red was mixing into mine too. Right over there. Dahlia has it over in the back. Just bring the painting with you. And we'll wait to do the next step until you guys are there. All right. So once we are finished with our roof, we're gonna make sure our medium-sized brush is really clean. And we're gonna take a tiny bit of white. I don't have too much on my brush, not a big glob of it, just a light amount. And I'm just gonna start to shade my barn a tiny bit with some white. So I'm gonna do some lines really lightly with some of this white. Now my red is still a little bit wet, so it's blending into it. Same thing for the sides. Just so you guys can see a little bit closer at home. I just got some white lines on there, not too harsh. Also gonna do that here a little bit. Also, a little bit on the side coming off of our barn. Dahlia, keep blending that out. Try and All right, we don't have too much time, so I'm just gonna keep going forward. So people who are still blending their barn, just keep blending. The next steps aren't too hard. So the next step, again, I'm taking my medium-sized brush, but if you're not too confident in keeping your line straight, you can use your stubby brush. Because the stubby brush, you have much more control. So I'm just gonna make a little window up here in the triangle of our barn with my black paint. And I'm gonna fill that in black. And while we have some of this black on our paintbrush, again, it's not too much black. It's a tiny bit of black, not a big gloop of it. What's up, Dahlia? We're gonna take this tiny amount of black. Do you have a question? Oh, I thought you had a question. we're just gonna do some of our outlines. So I'm gonna start off with outlining my roof. I'll do a little black. And those lines we made before. Again, I don't have too much black on there, just a tiny bit. I'm gonna bring this line down. That's the side of our barn. Same thing for this side. And I'm going to do a black line right here, separating the barn from the roof. And then we're going to do the same black outline right here on the side coming off. Now we're going to clean our medium-sized paintbrush off once we're done with our black. We're going to dip into our white. We want to make sure it's really clean. I need some more white.
What happened?
So we're going to grab our white.
All right, just. We're gonna get it since you're using it. Oh, where are you going?
So we're going to grab some white paint with our medium-sized paintbrush, and we're going to very, very carefully paint the barn doors in. Just be very careful of staying within the line. You just don't want to make any mistake that we have to fix later on. So I'm just going to take my time and really steady my brush to make sure I get straight, clean lines. Do you need more white? Here, give me your palette.
You need anything, honey? No?
All right. Once you got that all covered in, everyone's all cut up at the same point. We're then gonna very lightly do some highlights on these black border lines we made over our barn. So I'm just gonna very lightly put a few little white lines over those original black lines we made on our barn. Just for some added highlight. And our barn is almost done. I think I'm gonna put a few of these highlights on my roof too. Just like that. So now we're gonna let our barn dry and we're gonna get started on our little garden in front of our barn. I'm gonna let everyone catch up and give it a few more minutes. All right, and for the people who are ready for our next step, we're gonna wash our medium-sized brush of this black that's on it and make sure it's really clean and dry. Owen, Lucy, and Caitlin, are you guys almost caught up?
Oh, okay.
Almost, okay. We'll give a few more minutes. You are? Okay. So just make sure your medium-sized brush is really clean. And we're gonna take, I still have some green from before when I mixed my roof, this light green. Now I'm just gonna add a really good amount of yellow. And then we're gonna mix that and make more of a lime green. You see that? We want a lot more yellow in there this time. So it's like really bright.
I know.
Yeah. So it's brighter than this green that we already laid down on the bottom. We're just gonna see a little bit of a difference. Some more green. All right, so for our next step, we're gonna take our medium-sized brush, dip it in that green, and we're gonna start doing from the bottom up, brush strokes going up. Now, I went over a tiny bit on my barn door. Try and not go over your barn door. It's okay that I did, but just try if you can help it. We're just waiting for our door to dry so we can finish those details on it. Afterwards, we can put some green on top of it. So I'm just gonna do little random brush strokes going upwards from the left corner, bottom corner. Now that I laid down a bunch of these lighter brush strokes down here, I'm gonna dip in to just the regular green that has nothing mixed into it. And I'm gonna do a few of those brush strokes in there too. All right.
Where do we put the green again?
What'd you say, Owen?
Where do we put the green again?
You're gonna put it down here in the bottom left-hand corner, and you're gonna start doing brush strokes, kind of like long leaves.
Okay.
Upwards. How's it look, Owen? Look good? Yeah? Okay, good. All right, and when everyone is done with that, we're gonna dip into our black, and we're gonna do a black outline around our white doors. Again, make sure you really take your time. Steady your hand or steady your elbow with your other hand if you have to, just to get even pressure and not have a wobbly hand. Sometimes I'll do that. I really want straight lines. And I'm also going to do down here as well, black outline. And actually, I'm going to bring this black outline outward,
Well, you don't need that end to paint with at least.
just so it doesn't look like it's
You
floating.
want another paintbrush? Use a paintbrush over there.
Next thing I'm gonna do
Use one that isn't broken. Then.
my black and do a line
That's fine.
down the middle.
I don't have any. I was at,
And I'm gonna do a line right here, a line right there, and then I'm gonna do X's in each of those squares. You guys can see a little bit. If you want, you can even dip into a little white and add a little white highlight. Once we're finished with our barn doors, we can move back to our green and doing these brush strokes down at our bottom.
okay, well, that's right.
Just gonna keep doing these brush strokes.
You don't need it.
And now that we finished our barn, don't be afraid to bring that green up over it if you want to. You're not far behind at all. Just gotta do those brush strokes on the bottom. Plus, if you want to stay an extra 10 minutes and finish, that's fine. I'm just trying to rush for the Zoom because it's going to cut off at 5:30. I just want them to get it finished. All right. Your grass should look something like this down here at the bottom. We're just going to do a mix of greens. You guys keep going. Owen, Lucy, and Caitlin. You are exactly right. What you have to do is leave the doors too wet for now. Wait after 5 minutes until it's dry. Let's just do the grass now. Because we can always go over it. But once we start mixing in all the colors together. Looks good. Just make sure you go over some of that. You guys done up over here? All right. All right. So we're going to take the remainder of this light green we have with a tiny bit of white. Also, guys, if you're not finished the anything we're doing, don't worry about it. None of this down here is going to matter. This is just like a background for our sunflowers, just so it looks like there's more texture underneath it. But we're going to take this lighter green now, and we're going to start making leaves down here. You guys can all see a little bit. We're going to make bigger leaves down there. Our big sunflower is going to fill up this whole right bottom side section. So we're going to fill up all of this with leaves. I'm gonna do one right there. I'm gonna do another one over here.
Well, what is at the bottom?
Leaves for our sunflower. We're doing one big sunflower. All right, so now that I got those two leaves, I'm gonna take my original green that has nothing mixed into it, and I'm gonna fill those in.
Shush, hush, from the eye. I didn't do anything.
Then I'm gonna take a little bit of yellow on my brush, and I'm gonna just put a little bit of yellow. I'm just putting some yellow to highlight these leaves. All right, why don't you guys get started on your leaves? Because we only have about like 12 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit of white. As you can see, we're gonna do a little bit of a thumbnail. I think this is good for now. This is just a background texture, just so that we couldn't see anything. Okay, guys, we are gonna take some more yellow.
It's actually this. This. I want you to stand back. I want you to stand back.
Right.
Step back.
Got those
Little
leaves.
nuance that might have to be. It's hard
Okay.
to do a thing
Now that we got our leaves in there, we are going to take some white, straight white, and we're going to do little splotches for some of our little wildflowers on the side of our barn. So I'm just going to do little dots of white.
I think the tree, everything you did is great. You just take this, make it a
And then on top of that, I'm going to take a little white and yellow that I'm mixing together to make a light yellow. I'm going to do the same thing and go over those flowers a little bit.
In 5 minutes we'll be done, I promise you. And you're gonna be so amazed that you say, oh my God, you gotta do that. I promise you. All right? Also, let's go over this and block.
Just so you guys can see a little bit more at home.
We're gonna go back over this and block.
Now, once we finish with our flowers. Oh, and is that your sister?
So.
Hi. So, once we got our little wildflowers done, we're going to dip in with a little bit of white. And we are going to make the beginning circle for our sunflower. And then from there, we're going to do petals in white. Just a white outline first to begin with.
So you see what I just did? I know they
And we're going to go up the whole sunflower, making each petal.
so if you feel
Daddy,
a little bit of yellow over the rest of it, let's do this together.
Daddy.
Oh, like a pencil. Oh, like a pencil. Listen, when you have to hold fast, artists who have been painting for years go back to art classes. So this way that they can brush up on what they did remember.
All right, honey. Fall asleep.
And once we have our sunflower blocked in white, we are going to mix. We're going to make sure our paintbrush
Piece of
is
tinfoil?
clean. And we are going to mix yellow, a lot of yellow, with a tiny amount of white. Still a decent amount, but just a lot of.
Are you using these brushes or should I clean them for you? Clean them?
Yeah, that's perfect.
We're now going to take this yellow we made, and we're going to fill in each flower petal individually. So we're not just going to color in the whole thing. We're going to color each petal by itself, one at a time.
Gotta remember these paint and just everything individually. So that's one, and then the next one. So that. And she took this little white. Yes. Little thing. So one there, one here, one here, one here, one here. Okay, go ahead. That's great. Yeah.
And once we have each individual petal in, we are going to then wash our paintbrush off really quick, dip into our brown, and just paint the center of our sunflower with this brown.
Look at it. Perfect.
It's right next to Meryl. Can you go grab it? All right. Then we're going to dip back into our black once the center of our sunflower's brown. Black center. We're going to clean off our paintbrush again. Clean. Dip into our white. And we're just going to do a few highlights of white on each of our petals.
Yeah, babe.
It's incredible. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm the female boss, that's nice. We got that, yeah.
And I think I'm going to go over mine again with yellow, just to make it a bit brighter.
Just to make it pop, okay? And I want to show you something. I took my green, and I'm going to do the green and the yellow.
All right, I'm outside.
Okay.
And to finish off this sunflower, we're going to add a few little dots of yellow in the center.
Okay. You can excellent job. You can make this black if you want to. You can leave it green.
And if you guys still have time, we can take the remainder of this tiny bit of black that's on our brush. There's really barely anything left on there. You guys can shade a tiny bit on your petals.
Time to go home.
You can even take a tiny bit of brown if you want to shade more on your flower petals.
What?
And shade a little bit.
You're annoying me.
Girls, we're still on Zoom, so just can you be a little quiet? Thank you. Just so you guys can get a better picture at home, this is what it looks like, all finished. You see?
In my eyes.
The Zoom call is gonna shut off in about 1 minute. So if you guys have any questions, you guys can give us a call or, oh, and you have a question? What's the question? What's up, Owen? Are you muted?
So, the battery's running out of my dad's iPad, and my mom's charging it.
This Zoom call is going to end at 5:30 though, so we're done with the painting for now. All right? All right, hope you had fun today. Can I see you so far?
Yeah, wrapping it up, baby. I like it. Good to see you.
Yeah, so they haven't any sort of instruction. Time to make a decision. You know, they just do it sort of.
Oh, did you want to finish it, or you think you're? Did you want to do these flowers before we started? Huh?